Yo, what's popping? Let's check out this video, man. This guy says DaVinci Resolve has finally beaten Adobe. And yo, it's exciting. It's exciting news for sure. You know, because Adobe been growing. I mean, DaVinci Resolve been going crazy for a while. I remember the first time I ever messed with a DaVinci Resolve, I switched immediately. I remember it like it was yesterday. Literally, not that long ago, several years ago. I was about 7 now, right? Yeah, 5.7 now. 5.7 now. I started using Adobe. I've never looked back since. I don't even know how to use. I mean, I started using DaVinci. I'm sorry. I don't even know how to use Adobe like that no more. It's been so long. So let's check this video out, man. Let's see what this guy has to say. And yeah, let's get it.
Mark a generational change for video editing in DaVinci Resolve. Now, if you don't think this is important to you, I might just say you might be wrong, because Blackmagic Design just showed off, announced, and released DaVinci Resolve V20. And this update is probably going to knock out competitors and third-party softwares. There's a lot to talk about. I'm gonna go as quickly as possible, and I'm gonna discuss all the things that I thought were the most important. If you want the full presentation, I will leave a link to their stream in the description. So just so you guys know, I'm coming from this from the perspective of a freelance editor. I do a lot of my work on social media and for YouTube videos, so I don't technically work in like a production setting or commercial setting. So that's kind of like my point of view going into this. One of their first major tools that they're introducing is what they're calling IntelliScript. And what this does is basically give you a rough cut of your best takes. So they've taken their audio transcription tool and completely exploded it.
Wow.
Now what you can do is you can take your video footage, right click, go to IntelliScript, feed it the transcript of your file, and it's going to provide you a rough cut of the best takes of your video. It's going to layer your best takes on top of each other so you can enable and disable your takes to pick which one you want to work with. And as a sneak peek for something to come down the road, it looks like they're finally adding controls to these options. I don't know if it's implemented yet into IntelliScript, but like their silence removal tool, they're finally adding some thresholds that you could use. And before I forget, most of the things that I'm going to be talking about are studio features. I don't know which are studio and free, but I would assume that anything with AI or Intella in front of it is going to be a paid feature. Things like being able to record voice.
It's worth the money, if you ask me,
probably not going to be a paid feature, but I would assume if I were you that anything that's got like some kind of smart functionality, probably gonna be studio or now. This next one is a massive one for people like you and me who do a lot of subtitling, a lot of captioning. One, it looks like they've improved their subtitling tool, but two, they finally added the ability to add your custom text styles and animation to your subtitle track. Previously, you would have to use a third-party tool like Snap Captions to customize how your text animated on screen. So now they've added that ability, and it looks like they have some sort of word-by-word animation. I'm not sure how accurate this is yet. I don't know if it's just, you know, like video length, but if this works well, I mean, massive for content creators. This next one is the first in a few that are really catching up to Adobe. They've added a AI music extender. So if you got an audio track that you want to extend out to fit a certain length, you can now do that. You can either drag in, pull it out, or you can type in a custom duration and it fits that duration. Not only that, what you can do is you can break down the music track into its original, what would you call it, composition, and remix it yourself. Another small thing that they've done is they've added like a beat finder for your music. And the cool thing about this is it will outline on your music track that you can snap.
Yo, y'all gotta give DaVinci going crazy, bro. That's dope, man. That's a lot of shit. That's a lot of stuff to add. Excuse my French, but
cut to. And the one thing I will say about this, and this is going to be true for all the things that we're going to see in this update, is I'm just curious how well it works. There's been a few smarter features that they've introduced that do work, but don't end up working extremely well. The one that immediately comes to mind is the silence remover tool, but it looks like they are really improving the user control for all of these tools. There are so many of these really powerful features.
And that's the thing, you got to give them time, right? You know, when a lot of these features are coming out, like you got to keep in mind the amount of work that goes behind these things. So, you know, with enough time, you know, it's going to improve. Look at AI just 24 months ago. You know what I'm saying? So things are definitely picking up fast
that they've continued to introduce in this update. One of them being this audio assistant tool. Now, do I think this will be a go-to tool for editors? Probably not. But if you are somebody who makes YouTube videos or does your own content and your own, social media posting, I think this is going to be incredible. What it essentially does is if you have voiceover or dialogue, music and sound effects like whooshes or anything like that, instead of you having to go and manually adjust the volume levels, you can just drag and select your audio tracks and it will automatically mix it for you. Meaning that it's going to automatically lower and adjust the volumes. I don't know if it does EQ,
That's
but
dope.
it does the mixing and mastering for you.
I like that.
How well this works, we're going to find out. But I think for people who just want to make decent videos, this is going to be really, really powerful.
And that's the beauty of it, right? Being able to create something quick, right, and not have to overthink, and you know that things are still going to be, in the proper spectrum of, space, and they're going to be in their own unique space, right? Automatically, you don't have to do too. Again, this is great for people who just want to create good quality content and put it out fast without having to just worry about so many things. Keep doing it, man.
This next tool is going to be pretty controversial.
I think this is one of the reasons what makes CapCut like just one of the GOAT free softwares out there. Like, even though they have a paid feature, of course, but damn, like what you can do with that app is crazy.
And I'm curious how it's going to play out. They've added their own voice model trainer. What that means is that if you have dialogue from a subject or yourself, how this would work is you would train the voice model on a specific person, and then let's say you go and record dialogue after the fact, but you want it to sound like this person, you can then copy the voice model over to the new dialogue. They didn't know this information was going to be sent to the DaVinci Resolve cloud or
that's
anything
crazy.
Publicly. It will be stored locally on your desktop, but I'm really curious how the ethics of this are going to play out. Another really cool voice feature they've added is like this voice matching tool. Let's say you recorded in 2 rooms, but you want the voices to sound like they were recorded together. Well, now what you can do is capture the dialogue profile of one person and have it match the other. And this next tool might be
bro, that is so much shit and that's so much stuff. Like, nobody's actually going to utilize all of them at the same time, right? Because what are the chances of everything? For you to utilize all of them like that, a lot of things are going to have to be messed up, right?
Favorite thing ever done in DaVinci Resolve. It's something I've been asking for years.
What is it, bro? I'm curious now to what you about to say.
Just asking myself because I don't know who hears me, but they have added a full graph editor to the edit page, and it looks gorgeous, man. It looks like they absolutely crushed it. Thank you for finally adding this. And it looks like they've also added the ability to view your keyframes on the bottom of your timeline. Kind of a fun tool. I'm not sure.
Because that small spot.
To go into Fusion, you have more control of their animations. Is going to be life-changing.
That's true.
So many editors out there. And again, another just massive quality of life feature that I think lots of people have been asking for, but we're unoptimistic that would happen. If you do short form video, like me, they've now made the timelines compatible with short form videos. So instead of having to like scrunch and zoom in on your horizontal viewer, they've added support for vertical videos. So nice. This is kind of a small change, but I thought it was pretty cool. The new smooth cut transition, I think, uses some of their AI features, because if you watch this video, it's pretty hard to tell that this was a jump cut. Really cool. I think this is going to be really powerful for talking head videos. This next change holds a special place in my heart because this is one of my most videos on my channel. They've kind of removed the ability to do character level styling, because you can finally change the font color, size of your text in one text clip. So before, what you have to do is, like, if you wanted different words at different colors, you would need to go into Fusion and do character level styling. Well, they've now added the ability to just do different text styles in one text clip. Really nice. Thank you. And they've also improved the text plus title, making it closer to the Adobe one, where you can use a text box and have your text limited to the box. This one I feel like is going to fall under
Interesting.
the radar, but you can now decompose.
I haven't used, I haven't really been doing a bunch of editing stuff for a while. I've been doing things as simple as possible and not really this level of detailed editing things. It's been a while. So like seeing a lot of this stuff just makes me excited. And I'm also like, damn, I've been missing out on a bunch of stuff, man.
These Photoshop files, multi-layer files on the timeline. So let's say you're working with a thumbnail or a poster or any kind of graphic and you want to be able to move those individual graphic elements, you can do that directly from the edit page. You can just right-click and decompose the PSD file. They've also improved some of their file management things, and I don't know if I get enough to.
That's so dope, man. I remember back in the day you had to do a bunch of different workarounds, when trying to do effects with here and on what you call it, After Effects. Excuse me.
Talk about this system, but it looks like they are continuing to improve the Blackmagic Cloud, which is Blackmagic Design, DaVinci Resolve's tool set for collaborating on projects online. I've used it in the past a couple times and it works really well. So it looks like they've added some folder sync options, which is really cool. So when this update went live, I was actually streaming and reacting to it, and I kind of freaked out about this one because I just think it's so cool. It's stuff like this that it makes me love Blackmagic Design, because it's just like they're little simple things that they don't have to do, but they do. In your media pool, if you want to now, you can go to the custom sort option and drag and move around your media files into whatever order that you want and put it on the timeline. Meaning that, like, if you're me and you're just kind of like dragging and moving things around, perfect. But like, you can come up with a rough cut within like 3 clicks. You don't gotta mess around with the timeline. You can just kind of move the previews around, and then you got a rough cut of your edit. Now, they did introduce a bunch of features with the cut page, but the cut page scares me. That place, I just feel like, is heathenistic.
Yeah, man. I don't know why people who actually uses the cut page. Who actually uses the cut page?
Don't trust it. I know it's really powerful for a lot of people that work with like bulk amount of footage. I know. But just know that there were some cool cut page things added, like this dynamic
I see. Okay, so it's more geared to people who work with so much footage that they just need something like, okay.
And like video override. I don't know. Apparently it's very cool. Again, if you want to see like the full cut page breakdown, go check out the presentation. I'm sorry, I'm just not the cut page guy. But a couple other small things that they did was they added the ability to do voiceover directly from the cut and edit page. Before, you'd have to go into Fairlight, so that's pretty nice because now you can record ADR or whatever just directly from the edit page. And they've done some really cool things with previewing media. Now you might think this isn't that big of a deal. It's one of those tools that will end up saving people a lot of time down the road. So for instance, for one, if you have all of your media in one bin, instead of previewing the media one clip at a time, what you can do is swap your preview media mode to the source tape mode, and now you can scrub through all of your footage just from the preview window. Again, before, what you would have to do is go clip by clip and preview it unless you created a timeline, but now just do it straight from the preview window. You can also preview a timeline from the preview window now. Before, what you need to do is swap back and forth between your timelines, but now if you want to preview that timeline, you can preview it in the preview window, and it will also bring up a preview timeline that you can use to scrub through. I'm curious how much RAM usage this is going to use, but in principle, very cool. And if you want to now, you can also preview a clip as its own timeline if you want to be precise with the in and out points. Again, in the preview window, you're pretty limited with how you choose your in and out points, but now if you use the mouse to set those points, you can do that. Very cool. This next one is a big one, and I generally think that this might take out a few third-party tools that provide this kind of service. DaVinci Resolve is introduced.
I'm very excited to hear what you're about to tell me. What is it?
Podcast editing. If you record with multiple camera angles, doesn't have to be a podcast, but if you record with multiple camera angles and multiple sets of dialogue, what you can do is you can set up a multicam clip and then set the threshold for how often it swaps back and forth between those camera angles, and it will automatically cut up your multicam for you.
Ooh.
They've also added a really cool tool where you can set like a master audio. Before, when you use multicam editing, what you have to do is when you swap the camera angles, it would also swap your audio angle. So now you don't have to deal with that. The cool thing about this, and I think this is what's going to be the kicker for this feature, is that it also looks at the video. So if somebody's mouth is moving, it's not going to just reference the audio file. It will reference audio and video at the same time. Again, for the 100th time, how well this works, I don't know. But the fact that it's being integrated into DaVinci, pretty crazy. For my Fusion people out there,
that's crazy. That is crazy. You got the Opus clips, you got the Munch, like all those other ones. Although, of course, those are a little bit more advanced, and that's specifically what they do in terms of the fact that they'll add the text and all those amazing tools on there for you guys. But the beauty of this is like, dog, like this is absolutely probably gonna shut a lot of. I don't know if it. See, that's the thing. It's not about taking companies out, right? There's enough room for everybody to do their thing, because there's a lot of people going to find that easier to use. Not everybody's going to utilize DaVinci. Let's just keep it a buck, right? Let's be honest. So it's a great feature to have. It's definitely dope, because especially if they keep improving that, the fact that you can buy, people who have the studio version of DaVinci already, to have that, that's a lot of stuff, man. I don't want to make this too long, but that's a big deal. Again, how well does it work? Like he said, there's no way to really know. But if this is the new thing that they're introducing now, imagine a year from now, 2 years from now, it's only going to improve. I keep using the example of, think about AI. We're trying to replicate people. Y'all seen those clips with Will Smith eating the noodles from like a couple years ago, or 2 years ago? About 2 years ago. Now look at what we can do with that. They literally have AI OnlyFans, bruh. That's crazy. I'm sorry. That's just wild. Like the people even, the internet is crazy.
There are massive improvements coming for Fusion compositing. Now, again, I will say that I am not the most educated when it comes to compositing.
Yeah, I'm not the most Fusion person. I do a little bit of After Effects and then I bring it here, but Fusion is dope, man. I've had a lot of videos I've edited, watching tutorials and just mimicking them. Fusion is fun to mess with.
And the different kinds of EXR files. But from my understanding, compositing in Fusion hasn't been updated in years, like over 5 years. And so they are finally adding support to a lot of files that only programs like Noob were able to use. So Deep EXR is finally getting integrated into Fusion. They've added a whole new deep image node suite, giving you the ability to work and composite images in all directionality that they were composited in. From just the preview that they showed off, this looks insanely powerful for anybody who does a lot of compositing or 3D modeling. Similar to what I mentioned just a little bit ago on the edit page, they've also added multi-layer support, meaning you can import a Photoshop file into DaVinci Resolve and just work with one layer. Supposedly, this also works correctly. So like what I mean by that is sometimes you would try to bring in a layer of Photoshop and like the glow compositing would be weird and like the alpha channels wouldn't be exported correctly and things just wouldn't be brought in correctly. So this looks like it works really well and it also works with multi-layer EXR files. Looks like there were two other big changes coming to Fusion. One, if you work with CryptoMats, you will now have full functionality in Fusion. So if that's you, great. And finally, they've added this vector wrap node, which looks like it's going to be a smart way of compositing to 3D objects or shapes using their meshing AI feature. Again, we'll have to see how well this works. Oh, and they've also added HDR support, which is really cool. And they're doing some more things with like VR. And they're also doing some things with VR. I'm not going to touch on the VR side of things, but just know that it looks like they're working to include more options when it comes to like exporting to something like Apple Vision. It seems like the color page didn't get that much of an overhaul, but there are some new quality of life changes. One, going to the color warper tool. They've added a new chroma warp, which looks pretty interesting. And they've also improved Magic Mask. Now, I'm assuming that this change will be carried over to Fusion as well, but they made a new Magic Mask model that reminds me a lot of Runway ML's model. Instead of drawing strokes, what you do is you draw a point that you would like to be smart masked. You can then use a brush tool to paint or subtract on your mask option. They did say that they have legacy Magic Mask still included in there, but this is really interesting. I'm curious to see again how well this works. But besides that, I don't know if the color page got that much more love, or at least changes that I'll be educated on to talk about. They did say that they improved the depth map node to be faster, which is great because before, if you used in the past, that thing was slow. And then they've also improved their warper tool to do some cool things with shifting imagery. I don't know, looks cool. If you are somebody who's a color scientist, it looks like they've added ACES 2.0 support. I don't know what that means, but apparently it's cool. Good for you. And for the Fairlight page, there are some new automation improvements for you if that's something that you use often. And there's a couple of other ones that I really want to call out quick, mostly for somebody like me. One, for the silence detection tool, they have finally added thresholds. In theory, it was such a great tool, but the way it went about cutting out silence is not great. So now you can add thresholds and you can automatically add fades to the audio cuts. Another thing that they've done is the ability to split up audio tracks based on speaker. So you can do a rough cut, go to their speaker track splitter tool, and it will split up your subjects onto different audio tracks, which means you can now mix them on a track level. They've done a couple other cool things where they've added their full EQ on a clip level instead of
this is just a lot.
And they have improved their audio plugin chain. And I think what this means with the audio plugin chains is that you can now save a preset for the plugin chain. I don't think this was an option in the past. And there's one final feature that I think is pretty dang incredible that I can't believe they just snuck in at the end. Just know I didn't cover all the other small quality of life features. There are a ton of smaller changes that are just going to make life so much easier for you and me, like the ability to set your own quick export preset. So now instead of having to fiddle around with like the different render settings, you can just go to your preset from
You couldn't do that before? Am I tripping?
One of the biggest tools that they've added, and I am very excited to see where this goes a year from now, is an AI set extender. What this is generative fill in DaVinci Resolve. Now, what it looks like it'll do is extend the frame or add a still image. So it doesn't look like you'd be able to animate your video further, but if you guys haven't seen, Adobe has that feature. So in Adobe, they recently added the ability to extend clips past the endpoint, like a couple of seconds or so, or I don't know, maybe it's a minute. So what I think this means is that in the future, in DaVinci Resolve, if your footage gets cut off early, or if you need to extend the environment in your shot, you're going to be able to do that. But for now, they have added this new generative AI set extender tool. Very cool. Some of you might be thinking, like, well, Adobe already has this, or well, Nuke already had this. Well, yeah, DaVinci Resolve is free. Mind you, a lot of the features here are not free, but they're in the they're in the studio version, and you have to pay once, $300 one time, and you have access to everything. The fact that Blackmagic Design...
Nah, bro. Nobody's shitting on Blackmagic, bro. Like, Blackmagic is shitting on a lot of freaking companies. I just have to be honest. That's insane. Hey, everybody's doing their thing. There's enough room for everybody in the space to eat, right? But Blackmagic is doing a great job.
To enable editors, creators, producers in this way, it almost like gives me hope that not every company out there is slimy and trying to milk you for your money. A lot of times when you watch stuff like this, you're like, oh, well...
But you have to realize, Blackmagic is able to do this due to the leverage they have with cameras, right? They have all this sell cameras, so it only makes sense. Like, it makes sense for a company that sells cameras to also make a software that goes hand in hand with their tools, with their camera tools. You know what I mean? Wonderful. DaVinci Resolve, you guys are killing it, man.
That's made in Hollywood somewhere. No, you have access to the exact same tool that these studios have access to. And all the little things that other people had as an edge against DaVinci Resolve are kind of going away. So I guess what I'm trying to say is if you are somebody who has thought about swapping over or even just curious about trying DaVinci out, this is probably going to be the best time. I'm not sponsored by them, there's no affiliate link or anything like that.
Man, they should give you they should hook you up, brother. You know what I mean? You broke it down real nice, man. I'm gonna end it right here. Y'all, check out, subscribe and check out some more videos if y'all wanna, get some more content from your boy. Without further ado, I'm out, man. Peace out.